is going on, YouTube? So coming back today, I wanted to continue the theme of NFL draft videos, and yesterday I did my top 10 NFL free agents for this coming summer, and day before that I did my top 10 players to watch the 2016 Combine. Now today I wanted to do my top 10 undrafted players of all time. Now there's a lot of players that I could mention here. Now you got to keep in mind this is all time, so this encompasses a lot of players. So like I said, not any exact formula, but there's a few honorable mentions I wanted to make before I actually start the list. One, Adam Vinatieri. Obviously, most of you guys know who that is if you follow football. Currently kicker for the Colts. Spent most of his career with the Patriots and the Colts. I think he spent all of his career with the Patriots and the Colts. And obviously had a few game-winning Super Bowl kicks. Has won, I believe, 4 Super Bowls now. So, a few other guys. Jeff Saturday, center out of North Carolina, spent pretty much his entire career with the Colts. Emlyn Tunnel, Wes Welker, Marion Motley, the kid out of Nevada from a long time ago. I believe that was in the 40s. But anyway, moving to the top 10. So at number 10, I've got the guy out of Texas, played most of his career with the Chiefs and a little bit with the Ravens, and that is Priest Holmes. So I don't really remember, obviously I don't really remember the beginning of the Priest Holmes era. I believe he was undrafted in 1997, really played through 2005, and then retired a couple of years later. I believe it was in 2007. Now, like I said, really spent pretty much his entire, at least the prime of his career with the Chiefs, and really just fuck shit up. He did incredibly well. Over 1,500 yards, I believe, for 2 straight seasons, 2002 and 2003. Actually, it might have been 2001 to 2003. But then 2 years later, his season was cut short with a back injury, and that was in 2005. That's really when Larry Johnson took over for the Chiefs. Alright, so move on to number 9, and I've got the very, very old kicker. If you guys follow college football, you probably recognize this name, and that's Lou Groza. So, he was a kicker for the Browns for about 20 years, went to Ohio State. He does have the best kicker in college football award named after him. Again, if you follow college football, that's probably where you heard the name. I believe he was a 4-time first-team All-Pro in the NFL, almost 10 Pro Bowls. He was obviously a very, very good kicker. So move on to number 8, and I have Brian Waters, who was an offensive lineman for the Chiefs. Again, if you guys are around 20, 25 years old, you probably recognize this name if you watch a lot of football. He was a big-time offensive lineman for quite a while, a very good guard in the NFL. He was from the University of North Texas. He was originally signed to the Dallas Cowboys, then went to the Chiefs, again, where he spent about 10, 11 seasons and was very, very good. And like I said, I think, to me, that Chiefs offensive line was very underrated in the middle of the 2000s. Led a lot of good running backs, like I just mentioned, Priest Holmes, Larry Johnson, the very beginning for Jamal Charles. Like I said, a lot of good running backs. So, move on to number 7, and I'm pretty much assuming all you guys know who this is, and that is the former Steeler James Harrison. So, James Harrison obviously was a monster. I believe he won Defensive Player of the Year once or twice. I'd have to look that up. But a guy who I believe won two Super Bowls with the Steelers. He is from Kent State University. He was a monster for quite a while. I believe he was a rookie in 2002. And is he still? I don't think he's still playing. I think he retired with the Bengals. But anyway, yeah. And my opinion, his most famous moment, I'm assuming most people's most recognizable moment for him, is his 100-yard interception return for a touchdown in 2008 against the Arizona Cardinals. So, move on to number 6, and I have the former defensive tackle that went to Texas A&M, one of the branches of Texas A&M. Again, I'll have to look that up. But, guy who was signed as an undrafted free agent to the Minnesota Vikings in 1990, played pretty much the entire 90s with the Minnesota Vikings, and then went to the Seattle Seahawks to finish off his career. He was named to I believe the NFL All-1990s team. Also was just not too recently elected into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Might have been 4 or 5 years ago. Alright, so move on to number 5, and I have the former running back for the San Francisco 49ers. I believe he also played for the Baltimore Colts for a little bit. But that is Joe Perry. I don't know if I actually don't know if he's still alive. I'd assume not. But anyway, this guy went as an undrafted free agent in 1948. Again, played pretty much all of his career with the San Francisco 49ers. And then retired in 1961 or 1963. I think it was, 1963. So he was elected he was elected into the NFL Hall of Fame in, I believe, the later 60s. He was named as part of the NFL All-1950s team, and actually went to Compton Community College, CCC. So, obviously, great career. And like I said, if any of you guys know if he's still alive, let me know. Like, if he is, he's extremely old. So move on to number 4, and I have I believe, still going, tight end for the San Diego Chargers, and that is Antonio Gates. So, former Kent State, I believe it's Golden Flash, and obviously a guy that broke onto the scene big time in the mid-2000s. Had a rough first few years with the Chargers. Really didn't break through until I believe it was about 2005, and really was a mainstay, one of the best tight ends in the NFL until about 2010, 2011. Started running into a little bit of injury problems, but still was solid up until now. Like I said, ran into a little bit of injury problems, but he's still going. So, in my opinion, a future Hall of Famer, and a guy that belongs in the discussion of one of the best tight ends of all time. Alright, so move on to number 3. And I have a guy that is long time retired, and that is Richard Night Train Lane, Dick Lane. So, was signed to the LA Rams in 1952. Actually, I believe he still holds the single-season NFL interception record at 14. Spent most of his career with the Chicago Cardinals and the Detroit Lions. Again, just shows you how old it is with the Chicago Cardinals. And I believe he was elected into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in the late 1960s as well. So, move on to number 2. And I don't know. I want to say this is a tie at 1 for me. And I have the former St. Louis Rams, New York Giants, and Arizona Cardinals QB. I actually believe he was initially signed by the Packers too, and that's Kurt Warner. So Kurt Warner is a guy that's obviously a household name, played until 2009, I believe. Led the Cardinals to a Super Bowl in 2008, led the Rams to a Super Bowl victory in 1999 or I can't remember exactly what year that Super Bowl was won. And the following year, I believe that was in 2000, and then the following year in 2001, led the Rams to another Super Bowl as part of the greatest show on turf, and then ended up losing to the New England Patriots, the first of many Super Bowl victories for the Patriots. So, obviously to me, Kurt Warner, one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. I don't know where he would exactly belong in the top 10. Maybe top 15. But, like I said, a guy that I don't think he's been elected to the... No. This is definitely a future Hall of Famer. Again, I think pretty much everyone agrees on that. And, yeah, just a guy that had immense success for, I believe it was exactly 10 years in the NFL. So, my number 1 quarterback is actually a guy that did not start out in the NFL, and that is the former... I believe he spent most of his career with the Vikings, and that is Warren Moon. So Warren Moon didn't spend a whole lot of time in... Actually, he did spend quite a bit. Okay, spent actually the first few years of his career in the CFL with the Edmonton Eskimos, winning a couple Grey Cup championships there. Came over to the NFL in 1984 and then played until 1999. Played with the Oilers, actually, for most of his career. Elected into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 2006. Little bit interception happy. I actually hadn't looked up his career numbers exactly before. 291 touchdowns to 233 interceptions. But he actually ranks up 5th all-time in passing yards. And like I said, in my opinion, either the best or tied for first for greatest undrafted free agent of all time with Kurt Warner. So that concludes my top 10 list. I want to do a little bit of something fun, a little bit something not talked about a whole lot, and just goes to show that while they might not be your everyday starters, if you're a big NFL fan, you like doing scouting and that type of stuff, pay attention to everyone. Obviously, some of these guys on this list, pretty much everyone on this list, is either a Hall of Famer or a future Hall of Famer, and obviously all of them are undrafted. So, like I said, that pretty much concludes the video. And if you have not seen my previous 2 videos, I'll put the link to the entire playlist in the description below, as well as my last 2 videos for top 10s in the outro. So that's pretty much it. Yeah. My top 10 most valuable sports franchises, and today I wanted to tailor it back more towards college football, NFL, that sort of thing, and do my top 10 players to watch at the NFL Draft Combine. So, the list of Combine invitees was just announced a few days ago.